afternoon. It is Sunday, March 17th. I'm Yumna Naufal, and these are today's headlines. March 14 marks the 8th anniversary of its founding with a rally at the Biel complex in downtown Beirut. Syrian rebels seized several weapons depots in the village of Khan Toman in Aleppo province after days of fierce clashes. And Pope Francis appears before more than 100,000 people massed in St. Peter's Square for his first Angelus prayer and asks the faithful to pray for him. The opposition March 14 coalition marks today the 8th anniversary of its founding with a rally at the Biel complex in downtown Beirut. According to Faris Soued, the coordinator of the March 14 General Secretariat, the rally will be an important political message to the Lebanese, underscoring the need for civil peace and Lebanese peace. The rally will send a message to the patriotic Lebanese and civilians from all sects who agree with March 14 principles to form an impermeable barrier against Hezbollah's attempts to stir up civil war, according to Soued. His remarks come as the March 14 coalition is riven by differences over a new electoral law. Its two major Christian parties, the Lebanese Forces and the Kataib Party, have teamed up with their Maronite rivals MP Michel Aoun and Zghurta MP Sulaiman Fanji's Marada movement to support the controversial Orthodox proposal. President Michel Sulaiman stresses he rejects attempts by any country to impose its stance concerning the upcoming parliamentary election, noting that the capacities of the Lebanese army should be fortified. It should be clear no Lebanese president will accept being directed by any country concerning the electoral law, Sulaiman said at a meeting with the Lebanese community in Ghana during an official visit. The president pointed out that the Ta'if Accord should be safeguarded by the adoption of an electoral law that represents diverse Lebanese segments. He said him and Miati have signed a decree that sets the elections on June 9th based on the 1960 law that was used in the 2009 polls over the lack of agreement between the bickering parliamentary blocs. The Agriculture Ministry tried to allay concerns over the sudden appearance of populations of locusts in different parts of Lebanon over the weekend. The wave of locusts was light, and Lebanon's climate and environment don't allow their numbers to increase, particularly given the cold weather now in Lebanon after the limited hot weather and winds over a period of 4 days, according to Luis Lahoud, the Agriculture Ministry General Director. Farmers in North and South Lebanon woke up Saturday to swarms of locusts invading their gardens and crops. Locusts were spotted in northern areas including Kura, Tripoli, Zghurta, and Akkar. In the south, swarms of the little creatures appeared in Tyre and near the Litani River. Lahoud said the brief heat wave in Lebanon had been the catalyst for the arrival of the locusts, which he said had originated in the African continent and crossed over into Lebanon from Israel. Interior Minister Marwan Shelbis stresses that Lebanese are deeply involved in the Syrian conflict despite the government's dissociation policy as per the Babda Declaration. Everyone is involved in the strong rhetoric and the exportation of arms, Shelbis said in comments published in the Pan-Arab daily Ash-Sharq al-Awsat. Shelbis pointed out that he has not yet obtained any information on reports saying that Hezbollah is involved in clashes in the Syrian town of Al-Qusair. The minister expressed fears over the fallout from the Syrian conflict on stability in Lebanon, and he called on officials to understand the critical situation in the country, and the critical situation, he said, is we're passing through. He noted the government obtained the names of several Lebanese who are helping the Syrian regime and others, the Free Syrian Army. The United States condemns the Syrian violations along Lebanese borders, lashing out at warnings by the regime of President Bashar al-Assad that its forces would fire into Lebanon if terrorist gangs continue to infiltrate the country. The international community has to exert more efforts to isolate Lebanon from the Syrian crisis and prevent it from spilling over, a U.S. diplomat told the Pan-Arab daily Al-Hayat. Syrian troops have also on several occasions fired shells over the border, while the Damascus regime has accused Lebanon of allowing Sunni fighters to cross illegally into Syria to join the rebels. On Thursday, it warned that its forces would fire into Lebanon if terrorist gangs continue to infiltrate the country. The U.S. diplomat pointed out that the United Nations Security Council has expressed similar fears in their latest statements. The body of a Hezbollah member killed in fighting in Syria was buried in southern Lebanon earlier today. Several residents of the man's village have revealed that the funeral of Hassan Nimr Shartouni, who was 25 years old, was this morning in Mais al-Jabal after the arrival of his body from Syria, where he was killed in fighting yesterday. Two Azar residents, speaking on condition of anonymity, confirmed the details of Shaltouni's burial. Lebanese group Hezbollah has in recent months buried a number of fighters killed in Syria without publicly disclosing how the men were killed nor where. Sources close to the movement have said only that the men were killed while carrying out their jihadist duties. The group has acknowledged that its members living in Syrian villages on the border with Lebanon have taken part in battles against armed groups in self-defense. Syrian rebels have seized several weapons depots in the villages of Khan Tuman in Aleppo province after days of fierce clashes. Activists say the opposition have taken control of huge reserves, and video posted online showed fighters examining dozens of crates containing weapons and ammunition inside one warehouse. The capture of the arms depots was confirmed by the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights watchdog, which also reported heavy fighting between regime forces and rebel fighters in the area of Khan Tuman. In Damascus, regime forces were shelling the southern district of Al-Hajar al-Aswad, the group said, adding that fighting continues in the northern Berzeh neighborhood, which residents began fleeing a day earlier under heavy fire. A brigadier general and about 20 soldiers defected from the Syrian army in two separate incidents, activists say, and another sign that the strength of President Bashar al-Assad's armed forces may be diminishing. Brigadier General Mohammed Khallouf appeared dressed in a camouflage uniform in a video on Al Arabiya news channel and said he had planned his escape with the two opposition movement for some time. There was no comment about the defection on Syrian state news outlets, however. Defection of high-ranking military and political figures has slowed in past months, but a study by the International Institute for Strategic Studies published earlier this week estimated that Assad's forces, thought to be more than 300,000, are at the start of the uprising 2 years ago, were now at a much lower effective strength and were likely to further diminish. Coming up next, this is a fun story. A Texas student's YouTube video with a hilariously brilliant parody titled Ever After lets people know what happens after Ever After. Stay with us. Welcome back. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu chose Moshe Ya'alon, a former general and vice premier from his right-wing Likud party, to be Israel's next defense minister. The 62-year-old Ya'alon spent the past 4 years in Netanyahu's inner circle of ministers, routinely boosting the rightist prime minister and his strategic outlook. He shares the prime minister's distrust of the Palestinians, but in the past, officials say he has taken a more cautious line about the timing for a possible Israeli strike on Iranian nuclear sites. The government official said Ya'alon was appointed to the post by Netanyahu, who was assigning cabinet positions 2 days after agreements were signed to form a new coalition government, which is expected to take office tomorrow. A car bomb exploded at a bus terminal in Iraq's predominantly Shia Muslim south, killing at least 9 people, police say, as the country's delicate sectarian balance comes under growing strain. Now, no one has yet claimed responsibility for the attack, but Sunni Muslim insurgents have stepped up their efforts to undermine Iraq's Shia-led government and foment intercommunal conflict this year. The bomb exploded in the town of Garmat Ali, around 20 kilometers north of the usually stable oil hub of Basra. 3 police sources said 9 people had died. The head of the Provincial Security Committee, Ali Ghanim al-Maliki, put the death toll at 10. Now, for news around the world in brief, 5 villagers have confessed to gang raping a Swiss tourist in central India, police say, in an incident that has renewed focus on the rampant violence against women in the country. The woman was on a cycling holiday with her husband in impoverished Madhya Pradesh state when 6 men attacked the couple on Friday night and sexually assaulted the woman after robbing the pair. The alleged rapists live in a village near the forested area where the couple had stopped to camp for the night. A French corporal was killed during fighting in northern Mali, bringing to 5 the number of French deaths since the January 11th intervention to oust armed Islamist groups, according to President François Hollande's office. The statement did not elaborate on the circumstances of the soldier's death and paid tribute to the French forces involved in the final and most difficult phase of their mission in Mali. Pope Francis appears before more than 100,000 people massed in St. Peter's Square for his first Angelus prayer and asked the faithful to pray for him. Thank you for your welcome and for your prayers, the first pope from Latin America said from a window of the papal apartment high above the square. Dozens of flags from France's native Argentina were waving in the crowd as the former Cardinal Jorge Mario Bergoglio recited the traditional Sunday Angelus prayer, the first of his papacy. John Kozar, a University of Texas sophomore studying radio, television, film, is singing a bit of a different tune with his newest YouTube video, which is quickly going viral. The video, called After Ever After, is a song that explores the misfortunes that fall upon Disney princesses after their happily ever after endings. The video, which premiered online Tuesday, has already been featured on several different media outlets, including Huffington Post Comedy. The video has racked up more than 200,000 hits in less than 2 full days. And as of Thursday afternoon, the single was also #2 on iTunes comedy chart. Here's a look at it.
If you've ever wondered why Disney tales all end in lies, here's what happened after all their dreams came true. I loved being princess down in this beautiful ocean blue, but mermaids are going missing. They end up in someone's stew. So just try to put yourself into somebody else's gills. You're killing my ecosystem with fishing and oil spills.
Oh no.
Thank you, BP. Thank you, BP. Thank you, BP. Thank you, BP. The British are killing, oil is spilling. Now I can't see. My eyes. China would feast on flounder spins. Plus the Japanese killed all my whale friends. Oceans are browning. I think I'm drowning. Thanks to BP. You suck. Hey, I'm okay, but I'm slightly scared. My husband's a mark for the war on terror. Aladdin was taken by the CIA. We're not Taliban, you've got the wrong man. In Guantanamo Bay, Prince Ali Wickety Bee drowning in Wawa. Interrogation from the nation of the free. Bin Laden's taken the fall. We're not trained pilots at all. You're forward crazy and no one but up us. We're for freedom, Jimmy Industrious. Bush was crazy, Obama's lazy. Al-Qaeda's not in this country. Set free, my prince. A whore. A whore. A whore. A whore. A whore. This town's gone wild since I married.
This marks the end of our bulletin for today. Now for a reminder of our top stories. The opposition March 14 coalition marks the 8th anniversary of its founding with a rally at the Biel complex in downtown Beirut. Syrian rebels seized several weapons depots in the village of Khan Toman in Aleppo province after days of fierce clashes. And Pope Francis appears before more than 100,000 people massed in St. Peter's Square for his first Angelus prayer and asks the faithful to pray for him. Those are your Sunday headlines live on Future Television in Beirut. I'm Yumna Naufal, wishing you a good week ahead. Take care.